one. I thought that would feel like memorable for you. Like familiar.
Well, I mean, you didn't say action.
Oh shit. Okay. Take one. Rolling. B-roll. Feedback. And
Very nice.
action. All right, guys. Oh wait, I just moved my desk. That was bad. Okay. And take two. Rolling. Feedback. Lights. And action. Okay. Hey guys, and now comes the moment you guys have all been waiting for, another amazing interview. And I have one of my favorite people in the whole world on my podcast today, my bestie. Oh my God, we've gone back since college years. Like it's been forever, but welcome to the podcast, Miss Kat Wilkins. Yay!
Woo! What an intro. Thank you.
Yes, and I've barely gotten started. But me and Kat go way back. We actually went to college together at Mizzou, and we studied journalism. So it was one of those things where back in freshman year, you could pick your dorm based on like the major you were going after. And I decided to do, what was it, magazine journalism, and you did, was it broadcast journalism?
Podcast, yeah.
Yes. And we had roommates who were kind of like best friends with each other, but not with us. So they were like, hey, can we switch roommates? So I got kicked out of my dorm to go live with Kat and her roommates, and my roommate lived with her, which is
It's
fine.
for the best, though. Yeah. It's for the best.
It was. And then I met you, and it was perfect.
I'm glad that it worked out, I guess.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's going back. We did the whole roommate switch, and it was really for the best. And like we, got along and everything, and did journalism school together and all that good
Yeah.
stuff. But we've stayed in touch. Thank you to technology, texting, Skype, FaceTime, because I'm located in the Bay Area now, and you're in LA. So
Los Angeles. Yeah.
yes, tell us about you and what led you to LA and what you do and why are you on my podcast and why do you love me and all that stuff.
Well, I feel like I should start with why I love Liz because that seems to be the most important thing out of all of those things that you just mentioned. Liz is just like is a ray of sunshine. People, I don't know if you've noticed, but I think she truly just like cheers you up every time that you talk to her, and it's and also has like very important things to say, and you like truly. I don't know. You mention things to me sometimes that I'm like, God, I didn't think about it that way, or like your perspectives are very, or it's nice to hear your perspectives on things because it'll paint a picture that I didn't even think about before. So anyway, I love Liz for a multitude of reasons. Uh, yeah, me, I do live in Los Angeles. I live here because I'm a screenwriter. Obviously, I don't know how much people know about the entertainment industry currently. The writers, we are all on strike with our union, the WGA, and then the actors also on strike, SAG. So please support us. None of us are working right now. We are, we're trying to get a better deal and try to just protect our jobs in general and our creative work. So I do live in LA though, because that is where you are supposed to live when you do this stuff. When we are working, when we are actually working. I moved here 5 years ago now, which is wild. I've been here for 5 years. Out of journalism school, I got a job in Florida. Lived there for 3 years, working as a TV producer for a local station there. Yeah, I mean, you knew this about me too, that journalism was never going to be my end game. I made that very clear. Like even throughout college, I was like, I'm not going to be doing this forever. Like, but like we did go to the #1 journalism school in the country, so it made sense to and telling people like your parents that you want to be in the film industry and go into that is journalism sounds like a safer bet,
Right.
like in terms of like how to pitch it to my parents of like what I wanted to do with my life. So I did journalism and I worked in Jacksonville for 3 years. And then I moved here for grad school. Went to UCLA, did the MFA program,
Yes.
graduated into the pandemic in 2020. Yeah, but then I was lucky enough to become a working writer pretty much straight out of school. So
I mean, you
yeah,
really put those degrees to work. Like you did J school, you're like, okay, we're going to do this. Because I mean, honestly, for any college graduate, being offered a job straight out of college is like a godsend.
same.
Because I know for me personally, when I moved from Chicago to SF, they were like, okay, so you graduated from a school in Missouri? Like, well, I
It
don't
does.
care. Who cares? You
There
know?
are Yeah, there are. It's interesting. There are a bunch of people who do know about Mizzou and it being such a important, but it is kind of like a regional thing, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of stations in the Southeast are very familiar. Obviously, the Midwest, like West Coast, probably not as much. You're right. It's kind of like, and I mean, getting out of school, a job out of school is hard enough as is.
Hmm.
I think you know for me, I think the only reason that I was lucky enough to get a job was that there was there was a lot of demand for producers at the time, and there probably still is a pretty high demand for producers. So because nobody wants to work behind the camera,
Hmm.
you get to things that involve uh, working on camera. People are like, I want to be in front of the camera. But because so many people do want to be in front of the camera, there's usually kind of a shortage of people who are willing to work behind the camera. So I think it did just come down to me being a producer and there being kind of a high demand for that. So it was an experience, and I met some really great people and some of my friends who are still I'm very close to.
Honestly, I thought this would be a great topic because you are turning 30 very soon in August, and possibly
Yeah.
on the day I drop this episode, we'll see. But, you know, turning 30 is like a huge milestone. I feel like you're a real adult. Like, tell us how that feels to almost be 30 and like what you think of that big number.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's interesting. So I've always been the youngest of my friends in terms of like how, schools work and like getting into a grade. I was always like the youngest. So I've interestingly kind of already felt 30 for like the past 6 months just because all my you turned 30.
Yeah.
Like I felt all of my friends already just like turned 30. So to me it's just kind of I'm on the back end of this whole thing and I've been over here telling people I've been 30 for months now at this point. So I do feel it feels nice going into this new decade. You always hear that your 30s is like when you really thrive, flirty 30 and thriving kind of thing. Um, and I feel like, our 20s were obviously interesting because we had the pandemic. Like when I think, and especially when I think about it, I was 26, right? Am I doing that math right? Yeah, I was 26 when the pandemic started.
Mhm.
Um, so really the second half of my 20s were kind of not I don't want to say wasted. That sounds awful. Like a lot of beautiful and amazing things did happen despite all the awful things that also happened. Um, but it did, I think it gave us all the opportunity to take a step back and kind of think about the important things in our lives. And I think for me, it was just kind of looking forward to spending more time with my family, especially I'm from Texas and I don't get to see them very often. It's become very important to me now to just like remember those things and go. And even like, I think going into my 30s, I want to see my friends who live in different cities more. Like I need to come up to the Bay. I need to do all these things. Of course, it's difficult and money is a thing that exists and makes it tough, and schedules and all of that. But I don't know. As I approach 30, I think I'm I want to slow things down a little bit. Just like take some time, focus on the people that are important in my life. And I think in your 20s, you're so focused on. I think, or at least a lot of people I know are really focused on their careers and very career driven, and just trying to figure out what you want to do with your life. And I feel pretty confident with where I am right now in my career, and I'm pretty proud of the things that I've accomplished. Um, uh, though it does give me a shit ton of anxiety all the time, which I think that's just like a millennial thing, right? We all have uh, like a huge amounts of anxiety just
Yeah.
being humans.
Yeah. Just existential angst, really,
Yes,
at any moment.
constantly,
Yeah.
constantly. So I don't really know if I answered your question, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to slowing down a little bit. Maybe yeah, just exploring more. And like I've told you, I'm going on a birthday trip
Ooh.
to Bali and Thailand, which was something that I, again, maybe not the best financial decision. My sister and I had planned this before the writers went on strike, before we all went on strike.
Right,
So,
yeah.
where I felt kind of okay spending the money for the trip. But you know, the worry and anxiety about spending the money will come after the trip. I still want to enjoy my birthday as much as I can.
Exactly.
Uh,
And you and your sister
yeah,
are twins, so, like, this is a really huge birthday for both of you. So why not, like,
yeah.
celebrate yourselves, you know?
So yeah, there's always going to be a reason to say no, but you should look for the reasons to say yes.
Ah, I love that. That's a quote right there.
That's gonna be the promo for this podcast episode right there. Here's a teaser clip.
Right? There you go. I love it. Oh my god. There's no like, honestly, the present moment is really all that we can enjoy. And if we can plan something to be amazing in the future, like, definitely do it. I
Yeah,
highly recommend everybody, even if it's just like, I'm gonna treat myself to a new coffee shop today. Like,
yeah,
plan little surprises, plan little celebrations of yourself every day, because it's gonna make life worth it. And then when you can do the big things like that, that's everything.
yeah. And I completely agree with that. And I think a lot of times, so much of everything that we do comes down to like a financial decision. But there are even things that you can do that are free things, just in terms of like, especially we are very lucky to live in California where the weather most times, not the past couple of weeks, it's been pretty hot actually. But usually going outside and you can get these views for free,
Right.
luckily, and you can go hiking and experience these beautiful, beautiful things without having to spend any money. I don't know if that's a millennial milestone, but that's when I was like, in
I
terms of
feel
me
like
and
that's definitely an adulting milestone, like realizing that you are in charge of your finances and, maybe not everything needs to be purchased. So that I'll definitely give you a adulting milestone for that one.
okay, thanks. I'll take that. I'll take the my adulting
The
milestone.
millennial in me would be like, "Oh my god, you could have used that for so much good social media content." Like, and like, that they do the whole like flashback things now. So like a year from now, you could have reposted that stuff, and you could do like
True.
the
But,
whole.
I'm also not good at social media, which is maybe something to talk about later, but
Mm,
I'm not I have a lot of social media anxiety. So the things that I post, I'm not like I will reshare other people's stories
yeah,
sometimes, but I rarely kind of post my own. I don't know if you've noticed that I do. I rarely post my own stories
right.
unless I
That's
feel very comfortable about it.
Yeah, like for
So
me,
yeah,
like it's fun and it's free. And if people want to listen or follow me on all my social media accounts for the podcast, that's great. I'm also on Threads too. I have no idea what I'm doing there, but I like to write. I'm a copywriter by trade, so it's like, just put
that's
on the uniform.
true.
So yeah,
That's
it's
true.
fun. Every account has its own little specific purpose. But if you're not a person who's really into online for that, I can see how it can be daunting, especially for, I would think, millennials. We're kind of expected to be the experts of the online stuff. Maybe not the gatekeepers, but at least we have the most experience with it. And I feel like, at least for me, with a lot of areas of my life, social media and online kind of became first. Like,
Mm,
obviously, pandemic turned things to work from home, so it's more online and Zoom. Even when I make friendships now, I ask for their Instagram account before I like ask for their phone number, because I'm not picking up the phone
yeah,
unless I'm like really close with you, which is weird. That change of
yeah.
how I used to be
It is.
so hello to like texting. It's so weird.
Yeah, that is true. It's like if you're out and about, usually it is an exchange of Instagrams and not phone numbers anymore.
Same with
Like
dating.
even
Like,
oh my gosh, yeah.
it's
Which
not like I'm gonna meet you in a bar. It's, are you on Bumble, Bustle? Am I gonna like find you on Snapchat? Like, people are finding romantic partners via like TikTok now, even. Like, that's
I
insane.
I support that for people. I personally would love to meet. I don't like online dating. I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of it. I have an opinion about online dating. I don't like it personally. I'm also just like I sound like such an old person. Maybe that's a part of getting older as a
Being 30,
millennial.
growing
But
older.
I love an in-person connection. Over the phone, you'll never be able to tell if it's even worth going on a date with that person sometimes it works out, which is great. Like, obviously works for you.
Oh yeah, I was like, wait, what are you talking about? Yeah, oh yeah. I met my boyfriend on what was it? But no, what was it called?
Was it Hinge?
Bumble. Thank you, Hinge. Yes, I
It was
met
Hinge.
my boyfriend on
I feel
Hinge.
like most people I know when it's been successful, it's been Hinge is what I've kind of
Yeah.
come away with.
Yeah, my coworker, she
Um,
got married to hers, and I was like, "What?" And then I got on
but
that one. I was like, "Oh, this okay, this actually is real." Okay.
it's yeah, no, some of it I've gone on some pretty okay dates off of Hinge. I just like I don't know. I would prefer I've always said this. I'm so getting so off topic. But I always say that I feel as much as we're kind of on the younger end of millennials. Because what millennials cuts off like 95, 96.
Mhm.
We're obviously born in 93, but I've always said that I should have been born in like just about 1980.
Ooh,
Here's why.
okay.
One, I would still be a millennial, right? Is that's like maybe the start of
I
80,
think
81,
so.
maybe the start of millennials?
Yes.
Something like that. That because I feel like I would have thrived in high school. Like I'd have been like what 16 and like 96. Just enough technology, but not too much technology to where
Mhm.
you're still like calling your crush to go on dates, like with your home phone, because you don't have a cell phone. Maybe you do
Right.
if you're one of the rich ones. This is so dumb. I'm sorry. But then I feel like, and then I would have like had just enough technology to get through, but still had the ability to communicate with people in person without having to talk about any type of technology or online social media platform,
Right.
if
You
that
still
makes
have social skills to talk to people like this instead
exactly.
of through a phone
I
or
feel like
computer.
that would have been my era of
Okay.
like being in high school in the 90s. If I think it would have changed the game for me. But alas, I was born in 1993, so here we are.
And this is assuming you knowing how crazy connected and online everybody is in the future, but being born
Oh,
back then. Because,
yeah, that's true.
right, like if you're having all the knowledge you have now and putting it back then, yes, game
You're
changer.
right.
Being who you are back then,
Without having that knowledge, it is different.
you're right. You could have been like the person who's anxious because of people just always
Yeah,
having to be on whenever. Like I describe myself as like a ambivert because I have my energy from people. I draw it from that so I can turn myself on and be very social, but I still
yeah.
do need to come home and to re-energize and rest.
I think that describes you perfectly.
Really?
I'm a definite introvert, full, and which I think sometimes surprises some people
Hmm.
because I'm very. I feel feels weird to say about myself, but I think I'm pretty friendly. So like I will start a conversation. I'm not going to ignore
Yeah,
somebody. I will start a conversation, but it is very draining to be around people all the time for me. Like if I could I say that I was kind of built for quarantine. I was fine.
we're thriving.
I know everybody else was complaining. I was good, man. I was chilling. I was like, was actually when things started opening up again, I was like, ugh, I guess I guess I have to go and talk to people.
And yep, put on clothes again and
Yeah, I
remember how to say hi.
gotta remember how to have conversations with people.
No, I
But
feel
yeah,
you on that. Like, it was just such a nice pause on everything. Oh my gosh. So this has been so much fun. And really, obviously, we're here talking about millennial shit, but also millennial milestones. So
yeah.
I want to ask you, what are your top millennial
I'm,
milestones?
if I go back to the one of the earlier ones, I'm thinking about 16.
Mhm.
16 was huge, right? You're like, you can get your license. And my sister and I were very, we mentioned before, I have a twin sister. Hi, Caroline. We'll make her listen
Hi,
and watch.
Caroline. Thank you for
Um,
listening
Thanks
and
for
watching.
listening and watching. She'll do both. We're going to make her do both. It's fine.
Yep.
Um, I remember we were very adamant about getting our licenses on our 16th birthday. So we did driver's ed, and then we turned 16. We woke up that morning, went to get our licenses that morning. We were doing summer
Nice.
school. Yeah, we were doing summer school at the community college. So like we were like, oh, we get to drive ourselves. also, community college, like there are a lot of adults who go to community college.
Right, right.
And, we were the only ones getting dropped off by like our parents because we couldn't drive. So we felt very grown driving in the community college. It's Richland College, which is down the street from our house. Like it was a 5-minute drive,
But it's
not,
still a big
not
deal.
anything extravagant, but it meant a lot to us in the moment to drive. And then I remember our parents had planned, it was very sweet of them, planned a surprise Sweet 16 for us. Although it was pretty obvious because our shout out to our friends Valerie and Luann. They were on Facebook like the night before and they're like, and obviously those were two of our best friends. They were like, can't wait for tomorrow. Ha ha ha. On Facebook. I was like, tomorrow's our birthday.
Other than that, I don't really have any plans. So,
I was like, are they just like hanging out without us, or it feels like maybe something's happening? But they do apparently, and I was like, I remember talking to my mom and being like, "How did you guys plan this? Like, I feel like I have my phone with me all the time." And she's like, "No, you don't. I literally just went through your phone." I was like, "Well, okay, that feels like a boundary
wow.
crossing."
But it was good. It was good. Like the purpose was
Yeah,
good overall.
yeah. Also, thank you. Hopefully, you weren't reading anything else and just contacting our friends. It was very very nice. So 16 was kind of about the freedom of like being able to drive and again, we were the youngest of our friends, so and none of our friends had licenses, so we were
Oh.
the first ones to drive. Yeah, by the time we were seniors, I feel like most people had gotten their licenses. It just took everybody else a little bit longer. Like, oh, we'll just get to ride with the twins. Yeah, so 16 was a whole thing about feeling a little bit more grown up. 18 was a different kind of for everyone. I turned 18 right before going to college, so I remember that birthday. We A couple of friends, we tried to go to this club downtown, but I think our birthday was on a Saturday, and that night was 21 plus. So
Oh.
we ended up where we like always ended up. I think we ended up at an IHOP, and just like we're like, well, we tried. We tried to have a night out. But I think the biggest thing for me, looking back at 18, I didn't realize how like homesick I would be going to college. I was really
Mhm.
homesick like the first couple months, and because I didn't realize it's something you don't realize until you leave.
Right.
Like I talked to my sister like all the time when I was at home, and then I realized that we were gonna have to start calling each other because Caroline went to college in New York,
Mhm.
um, and I that never even occurred to me. I was like, oh my gosh, we have to like something just happened in my life, and usually I would just like turn to Caroline and tell her what happened. And then I realized I was like, oh my god, I have to call her in order for her to know about this. I think that was the biggest thing, was trying to learn how to be independent,
Mhm.
um, and being used to my sister. Not I didn't realize how much like I relied, and I guess that's probably a twin thing,
Right.
not
'Cause
realizing how much you rely on them,
yeah.
um, which was a wild thing to realize, or even just talking to my parents. So that was 18, trying to learn how to be independent.
Love
21, I turned 21 right before senior year of college.
yeah.
That one was an interesting birthday, and you went through this with me, and was such a great person. But my brother passed away a couple months before I turned 21, um, and so that was an interesting birthday because well, especially because we had planned to celebrate that birthday. Our brother was really excited. He was 6 years older than us, so he was really
Mhm.
excited to celebrate that with us. And we're finally like adults together. We were always just in
Right.
different stages of our lives. Like we were little, he was a teenager. We were teenagers, he was grown.
You
We
are
were finally
trying
going to,
to catch up.
yeah, we were finally going to be in the same places in our lives. And unfortunately, he passed 2 days after his birthday, and his 27th birthday. And
Mhm.
I'm going to touch on turning 27 actually too on this milestone thing because that was tough. Um, Turning 21, my mom felt it was really sweet of her, actually. She felt bad, obviously.
Mhm.
So she, like, took us on this, like, kind of spur of the moment trip to Vegas for our 21st birthday,
Oh, nice.
which was very sweet. She did not have to do that, and I think it was like we're gonna try to make the best of this kind of birthday as we can. We're also obviously very sad, but,
Mhm.
it was the first time I'd ever gotten drunk with my mom, though. That was fun. Like, because she was very much like, I think that was the birthday. She was like, "Okay, we're all adults now. Let's go."
No holding back now. Like y'all
Yeah.
grown, I'm
Yeah.
grown. Let's do it. That's amazing.
Yeah. My mom is dope as hell. I love her. Me and her are like we roll together. That's my girl.
That's amazing though.
I love being an adult with my mom. She's very fun. I enjoy spending time with her. But yeah, so that was 21. That was a rough one. Uh, yeah, and I think in we've both gone through some stuff, and it's like grief is such a big part of growing up, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is.
Um, and there's so many moments that I can think of, especially in my 20s. I feel like, oh my God, and that goes for a bunch of different things, but particularly 21 and like, yeah, senior year of college is I think all of college is kind of a blur for me. Not that I was going wild, I just like genuinely don't remember a lot of it.
Mhm.
And I do want to wonder what that was about. But yeah, particularly senior year, I don't remember much of senior year at all. Like I know that happened. I know I applied for jobs. I know I got a job. I don't know. I think because there was so much grief surrounding that year for me, so much of it is gone in my memory.
And it's possibly
So I
like
think I'd
a
rather not
way.
remember it.
Yeah, and possibly like a safety mechanism for your mind in a way. Like you can only cope with so much. You can only feel so much. And like you're trying to get
100%.
through, but it's still like day to day grief is affecting every asset of your life. So it's kind of like, I know this is
100%.
happening. I know it's a big thing. And I'm graduating. I'm getting pretty decent grades, but it's not hitting me right now in this moment because
Exactly. It's
it's
because
just,
there's so many other things
mhm,
happening that you're like, I don't really know how I'm supposed to deal with all of these things happening back to back. Because there were so many good things obviously happening. But
right.
graduating is a huge deal. That's a huge deal and a huge accomplishment for anyone. Um, Getting a job is also it's just, none of it really stuck out in my mind. I think I had a good time at graduation. I remember my aunts came down, my dad drove up. That was cool.
Yeah, more eye help, like, you got a degree that
Yeah.
you're still in debt
Um,
for.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then so I guess the next milestone of a birthday, I'm gonna combine 27 and 28 for me
Mhm,
because that it was weird turning 27, knowing that that was the age that my brother passed away. So I remember being like turning 27 and like 3 days after my birthday being like, I have officially lived longer than my brother did, which is a weird thing to think about. Someone who was uh, who always felt so much older, I guess, and now
mhm,
I've, you know, lived longer and been turning 28, kind of the same thing in this experience. And I even told my sister the other day, um, I was like doing the math and I was like, next year, Josh, who my brother, uh, he, we would have lived a third of our lives without him. Like
mm.
next year, it'll be, us being 30, 10 years, he'll be gone. And it's a weird thing to think about that a third of our lives he has not been here for.
That's surreal.
Um, it is 100%, and it's I don't even know how to describe it, and it's yeah, because I would have loved to see what he would have been doing if he was still here.
Right.
Um, but we have my niece is very and it's funny, she just has no idea how much she is like him, and it's incredible.
That's
So we love her
amazing.
very much.
Jeez, that's so good. That's amazing.
Yeah,
And, like, obviously, his memory lives on, but it's really nice and beautiful to see it in her face and, like, her personality and, like, how she's like him, how she's not, and, like, the fact
yeah.
that you guys can still share those memories with her and share who he was with her, that's a beautiful gift.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I think that's moving on to 30, and the milestones of that. I think that's something that, again, I just kind of want to slow down and take in these moments because and even just like learning, like with the loss that I've experienced, like one of my best friends, and this is one that's still really fresh for me. One of my best friends from forever passed away last year. And that one's still like really fresh and, like, we were trying to figure out a way to visit it. She was living in Kentucky, so
Mhm.
trying to figure out a way that we could all go visit each other, post-pandemic, and so it's just, like, for me, it's taking the time to really just, like, reconnect with everyone who's closest to me, and, like, just spending that time, And she gave me this necklace, by the way. It says Leo on it. It was a birthday present a few years ago.
Oh, that's so
So
sweet.
yeah, I miss her very much. So I think it's to me, it's just like taking the time to spend time with the people who mean the most to me, and like I don't know, I feel like I've experienced a lot. I still have a lot more to experience, hopefully. And I think going to my 30s, I just want to be very present for all of those moments and for the people. I want to show up for the people in my life. So, um, you know, if they want to send me some money to get on a plane to go see them, that would be helpful.
I feel like you're talking directly to me right now.
I'm like, you want to pay for the flight? Um,
I mean, you could drive. It's only a 6-hour drive up here. I'm just saying.
that's true. That's a good point. I really don't have an excuse. I need to just hop in the car and go. It's still gas money.
I can't.
No, do you got an extra parking space outside your building? Can I
Actually,
park
we
out there?
do. We do. You can
Oh,
camp out here anytime you want.
okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, it'll happen. I'll make this
Yeah,
work.
but before that ask, I was gonna say such wise words, Kat, but yeah.
It's like if you want to send me some money to do it, might make it easier.
I'll
No, but I
still
do
some
feel
gas
well, I
in.
do also want to say though, because I do feel like I focused a lot on grief and the sad things. There's been so many wonderful things in my 20s that like I mean, just like friends getting married, friends having babies, growing families and just all around wonderful milestones for my friends and family members too. So there are very good things happening. I don't want to just make it sound
I
oh my 20s were so sad. A lot of great things. I moved to LA. I got to experience
right.
that, and that was I if I had stopped at 25, I could have mentioned that. Moved out here, yeah, right after my 25th birthday. So there were so many beautiful things that happened in my 20s that I'm really grateful for. So met so many new people in my 20s that I'm very grateful to have those people in my life. Um, I've, you know, my mom has been able to retire, kind of, not really, because she's a kind of a workaholic and will, continues to work, teaches now. I've been very grateful. Got to spend, I my grandparents are all now gone, but I got to spend some more time with them in my 20s, which I didn't get to do as much when I was younger because we all lived in different places.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I feel very grateful for the good moments too. I've had a lot of good moments, and I'm very grateful for the good ones too.
I
Uh,
I
but
love
it is
it.
interesting. I think maybe it's a human thing to kind of focus on so much of the bad and grief when you talk about these milestones. When God, there's so many good things too.
I love it
I
though.
yeah,
I think it's just like it speaks to a well-rounded human experience because honestly it's kind of like you can't really appreciate the good moments without acknowledging and realizing the bad. And yes, there's been like some crazy moments, but like even through that, you come out the other side, and you
yeah,
learn and you reflect and you appreciate and you grow deeper in yourself and what you want out of life and what you want from the relationships in your life, and
yeah,
the fact that you want to be more present, you want to, be able to be with the people that you love and talk and spend more time. I think that's a beautiful thing to even realize coming out of that. Like, every moment's not promised. So just like make the most out of the present moments you've got. And remember to
absolutely.
say, hi, and I love you and I miss you. And which I'm saying to you right now, and just really
I love you
appreciate
and I miss you too.
I actually feel like those relationships are the ones that like make life the best, and make you kind of just want to continue to wake up and live for today. So I love that. I
Yeah.
totally endorse all of that. So I think it's great.
Yay. I have your endorsement.
Yes, you do. You have my endorsement, the Bad Millennial Podcast
Score.
endorsement.
That felt very millennial to say. Score.
Oh my
When
God.
was the last time you heard somebody say score?
No.
Like whenever we were like 10. It was really in for a second.
Sweet. So you talk about, what you wish for your 30s, which I love being present and just like acknowledging every day and moments and relationships. I wonder kind of if you had to talk to yourself in your 20s, like, is there something that you wish you would have known in your 20s? Or is there kind of
Mm.
any advice you would have given yourself?
I would say maybe to just let loose a little bit more in college, especially. Like, I definitely didn't let loose in college, which is when you're supposed to do that, or so they say. Like, we weren't going out doing anything like super wild while we were in college, really.
No.
Not that I really wanted to. This was really not my scene, but I would have been totally okay with like being relaxing just a little bit more and like, look, it's hopefully all gonna work out, and it did. And you'll end up where you're supposed to be in due time. I think I was always pretty focused about getting to LA. So I even remember when I took the job in Jacksonville, I was like, I'm moving the
Yeah, you're
opposite
like,
direction.
"I gotta get out of Florida, like, now, this is
I
not for
really,
me."
oh yes, yeah. Which is also a thing. Look, I will say it's also a thing where when I tell people that I live in Florida, they're like, "Really? Interesting. That's a choice." Yeah. So I think maybe focus a little bit less on my end goal and just kind of, have a good time where I'm at, would have been my advice to my or to myself in the last 2 weeks of being 29.
Yeah,
Uh, of like, relax and be happy with where you're at and be present, which is what I'm hoping for my 30s.
yeah, I love
Um,
that, and I wish
yeah.
all of that for you in your 30s because
I wish all of that for you in your 30s.
I know, right? Bro, I got so excited when I discovered my first white hair the other day. Like, I was like, "You know
I
what?
discovered one too. It's in there somewhere. I don't know where.
This is
I think it's in the
living.
back.
This is life
Yeah.
experience. This is beautiful. We're aging. We're gracefully and
Yeah.
enjoying it, you know? It's almost like our 20s were kind of like a race to just reach a finish line of something, but realizing we're all going on a journey to get somewhere and we're gonna get there. It's just like
Yeah.
enjoy the journey and the view
Yeah.
you got right now, instead of always having to
Yeah.
look forward because you're gonna miss what's in front of you, you know?
Always.
Yeah.
Always. And I do feel like there were moments where I did that, or even like when I was in Florida, I was definitely always like looking forward to being here. And I wish that I had taken more time in Florida just to be like I was constantly being like, I'm not gonna be here forever. Like, and I wasn't, but I definitely should have been more present in the time that I was there. And I still, have made great relationships there and still have those relationships. And I'm very grateful for them. But I could have been more present. I know I could have been,
Yeah.
especially looking back. And yeah, it's one of those things. I do like aging a lot. So you know this about me. This is a weird. I keep getting off onto these weird tangents, but like, so my, that I kind of have these like little moles all
Mhm.
over my face.
Uh-huh.
Don't look too closely, people. I have these little moles all over my face, and as I get older, I get more of them. And to me, that has been really nice because not that I ever thought my dad wasn't my dad, but it is very clearly a Wilkins family trait.
Yes.
We're very moly people, and so whenever I get one, it just reminds me of, like, my family, and I feel very grateful to have my family and be a part of that family.
Yeah.
Because, like, with my mom, like, I look a lot like that lady. I know that I'm related to
Yeah.
her. So I like these little reminders of, like, I got 2 sides of the family, and they're both great, and I'm very grateful for them both. So as I get
Yeah.
older, every time a new little mole pops up, I'm like, "Man, it's good to be a Wilkins."
That's so funny. Like, honestly, I feel like I'm a carbon copy of my mom's face too, but, like, I've
You
got
have a lot of your mom's face.
it's scary. It's always just literally just like copy paste. Boom, there it is, you know? And it's just funny how like little things pop up that remind me of her or my dad. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm turning into my mother. But it's like it's
Yeah,
nice to be like, you know what? That's where you came from. You see where this headed?
it's
Do you
true.
like this or not?
I think Yeah. I also think you look like a good mix of both your parents, though, I think.
Yeah, I say
I
so.
think I think you're like, it's a perfect combo, you
And
know?
yeah,
Yeah,
and it's still like
there are certain parts of your face where you're like, this is mom, this is dad, this
and this is me. And yes, it's like all
and this is
perfectly.
me. Ah, I love that. This is
Right?
mom, this is dad, this is me.
This is me.
Yeah, this goes good milestones, bad milestones, they make us who we are, and as we enter our 30s, I hope that we put forth the lessons that we've learned and come out better people because of them.
Yeah, that's all what, being a bad millennial is about, embracing it, just embracing it,
Yeah,
breaking the
right.
standards, the stigmas, and just living life as
Look at
fully
you plugging the
yourself.
title in there. Oh my
Hey,
god.
shameless
I was
plug.
like, "Bro, bad millennials." You're right, there's no such thing as being a good millennial. We're all just trying to figure it out.
We are, and we're making our own rules, we're breaking some, like, you really just have to just let go, be yourself, and
Yeah.
enjoy life along the way. Because there is no playbook for this
Yeah.
at all.
No,
I did not
at
think I was
all.
gonna be having fun on TikTok when I'm 30 some years old, but here I
I
am, okay?
still I still don't have a TikTok. I don't have a TikTok. I don't have the what's the new Twitter for Instagram
Oh,
called?
Threads, yeah, I'm on
Twitter
that
for Instagram.
too.
I'm sure they don't like that I said that. It's what it is though, right? That's what it
It is, I mean, and it's easy because you can just literally use your Instagram account and you're on Threads, boom, just download the app
Yeah,
and they already have all of your info, which is kinda creepy, but that's Facebook. I mean,
it is a little bit creepy. I
yeah.
did have a Snapchat for, like, a hot second. I remember I sent exactly 1 snap to a boy in college that I talked to for a little bit, and then I was like, "No, no, no." And then I deleted it because I was like, "I don't like that you can send these pictures and then they're just, like, gone." I
Right.
was Isn't that how Snapchat works? I don't know. I sent 1 snap and I was like, "Ah, I don't like this,
Yeah, you can,
bye."
like, I think you could, like, pick, a time how long you see it, and I think there's some that they can, like, save, but yeah, pretty creepy, and I'm pretty sure those things aren't actually gone, like, they're saved somewhere,
I don't
so,
I didn't like it. I was
yeah,
like, "Okay,
same.
this is the last time I use this."
PSA for all y'all who still
I'm
use Snapchat.
Yeah, I'm a millennial, but I probably identify with boomers sometimes. Also, let's throw out some respect for Generation X. I feel
Mm,
like they are overlooked all the time. It's
fair,
either you're a boomer or a millennial, and people just
right?
kind of forget about Gen X. And they
There's
are a whole group of people who deserve some recognition for existing.
we love our Gen X listeners and all of you guys.
We do.
Like,
We do. We love all the generations. All the
yeah.
generations matter.
Yeah, we all, like, affect each other at the end of the day. I mean,
We
yes, millennial is
do.
a hot button term right now, but, you know, we still have to learn from our elders, and we still have to respect the youngsters and get along together in this crazy world, you know?
All true. All very true. We are a society of multiple generations,
Mhm.
and everyone deserves some respect.
There you go. We're all
I'm here
kinda
to say, as a millennial, put some respect on the Gen X name. Uh,
Gen X.
I don't know why.
We love
Gen
you.
X.
We love you. Buy our merch. I have merch on Etsy. Go ahead, go get it. I'll put something on
Oh
Gen
yeah, buy
X.
the merch. Buy the merch. I'm gonna go buy some merch too.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of that, is there a way that our listeners can also support during the writers and now actors strike?
For the actors, if you'd like to help them, their SAG has the Emergency Financial Assistant Program. Um, Through SAG, you can go to the SAG website, and if you would like to donate to help actors who are currently struggling financially right now, you can do that. And then I believe for the writers, you there's the Entertainment Community Fund that you can also donate to as well. And I'm sure there's other fundraisers and things like that that you can donate to. But so many writers right now they don't have an income because we are not working, we're on strike. So if you are able to, I'm sure the writers and actors would really, really appreciate it because it's a tough time and it's a weird time in the industry. So any help that others are able to provide would be very, very nice. Yeah, it is a weird, weird time, and we're hoping for the best outcome for all the creatives involved. And even though it's just the writers, currently it's the writers and the actors on strike. It affects the entire industry. People who worked on productions obviously aren't working on productions currently because
Right.
nobody else is there to be on camera or to write scripts. So yeah, everyone's being affected. So any help is greatly appreciated.
Yeah, honestly, Hollywood's at a standstill, and it's kind of like, realizing how important the little guy is, from production to people who are building sets to people who are, background actors. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, put respect on their names, pay a fair wage. Come on,
Yes.
period. So yeah, if you guys can help and donate, please do. If you guys are also in the LA areas, the New York areas, everywhere where there's a strike, go ahead, buy some pizza, hand it out, help people, get some
Yeah, or if you
umbrellas,
wanna get your
shade.
steps in if you wanna get your steps in too, we're always happy to have more people at the picket line.
There you go.
You know,
Join the cause.
solidarity in numbers, and it's really great to see, just having even friends come out or people who just aren't even a part of it at all, but, like, just wanna support and show their solidarity. We've had a bunch of people out at picket lines, and who knows who you'll run into
Oh yeah,
also
that's
at
true.
picket
The
lines,
famous ones are out now.
There there are some cool faces that you might see, if that is of interest to anybody to come out to the picket lines. Don't bombard anybody. That would be not cool, but, like, you can maybe wave.
You can, yeah, compliment them on their sign, "That's funny, ha ha. Can I have your autograph, by the way?"
Also, yeah, you're, like, making a sign, you're just, like, sliding your little autograph pad
Right.
to some of the bigger people that are, out there, but, yeah, people have been out for the riders have been out for almost 3 months. We're entering week 13 currently, so whenever this comes out, it'll probably be week 15, 16.
Mhm.
We've been out for a hot minute, and hopefully we're able to come to a fair deal sooner rather than later. But we've heard different things, and we're just trying to stay optimistic. I think right now.
Yeah, that's really all
Uh,
the only mood you can be, just optimistic
yeah,
and stay driven and,
yeah,
you know
and the actors have brought, shout out to them. They've brought such a great energy. We have been out there for a while, so it's nice to have a new, energy to the line. Yeah. Plus, like, actors
yeah.
they're fun. They're fun.
The fact that, big names are out there too, it just shows how serious this is, It's not just like
Yeah,
millionaires wanting more money or whatever, or like rich people just want to get richer. Like, no, it's just like
yeah.
common decency, respect our work and pay us what we're worth. Like, that's
Well,
really.
yeah, and I think that's where some of the misinformation has come in, is, like,
Mhm.
people will be like, "What is insert famous and well-paid actor here doing it on the picket line? They clearly make enough money." And it's like, that is not why they're out there. They're out there to support the other actors and writers, because those people represent, like, 1% of the actors, right?
Right.
The very successful people who make a lot of money, whereas everyone else is, like, struggling to have health insurance, or, just, like, make a being able to live in LA is hard enough. It's like, being able to afford to live here. So they are out there to rep those people, to stand in solidarity with them. They realize they aren't necessarily the people who are as affected, but they are there to support their peers, and it
100%.
means a lot. It means a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So hoping for the best. This took a turn. I know this is not what we were talking about before.
No, but I think it's important, and it is also part of the millennial experience for people who are working in these industries. And even if you're not
Absolutely.
an actor or a writer, like, there's times when you're like, I know I should be paid more, or I know that, I'm
Yeah.
doing extra than he is, but he gets all the credit. Like, there's all these types of, parallels between work that
Yeah.
we're all just trying to pay rent and have a decent dinner, and
Exactly.
if we can't get
Well,
away without that and being respected and being paid and taken seriously, then what is there?
yeah. Exactly. And, to think about the last strike, the 2007, 2008
Mhm.
writer strike, like, we were 14 when that happened. It's weird
Right.
to think about, and I remember, like, reading about it and watching, like, news segments about it, and, like, not really fully understanding what was going on. Like, I cared,
Right.
obviously, I watched a lot of television, watched a lot of movies, had plans to go into this industry. But it is wild to be here and be a part of it. It is a historic thing. It really is.
It
So to be a
is.
part of it and be on the right side of history, um, it is weirdly special. And I hope that we're able to get all the things that we are fighting for. Um, so fingers crossed on that
Well
one.
said.
Yeah.
Well said. Amazing. Oh, and where can the people find you, if they want to see more of your work or just like chat or contact you or whatever, share your deets with the peeps.
Yeah. I'm on some of the socials. I'm on Instagram and Twitter, Cat Wilkins, at Cat Wilkins with 3 S's, which is maybe not the best. Every time I try to explain it to somebody, they're like, so it's 3 S's after the S? I'm like, no, it's 3 S's with the S
Total.
that's in my name.
Wait, oh, with it. Okay.
At
I actually have to write this out because I just got confused too.
what is it? At cat with a C. Nobody's gonna follow me. They're gonna be like, "That's too complicated." I'm sorry. At Wilkins with 3 S's. I don't tweet often. I
So
don't Instagram often.
Twitter might turn into something totally different by the time this recording comes out because
Oh,
apparently
true.
now it's going to be called X.
Wait,
Mhm.
really?
Yep.
Okay, wait, I did not know that.
It's been reported. If you literally go to like x.com, it reroutes to Twitter. And I think he's trying to turn tweets into just X's. I don't know. Twitter's dead. I don't know. I think he's just trying to pretend that he invented something, and so he's just going to rename everything, and the bird is going to disappear soon. Yeah, it's
Oh, I don't
weird.
like that. Oh, okay. So I might have to get a Threads, is what you're saying.
You might actually. I'm
I
sorry.
might have to get a Threads. So social media gives me anxiety. You can follow me if you'd like. But yeah, that's those are my social media accounts.
Otherwise, there's always LinkedIn. Keep it profesh.
Cool. That's true. You can find me on LinkedIn somewhere. I don't know how you find me on that. Just
I mean,
Google
if it's just your name, I think they just type in your name and try
comes
to
up
find
and
you.
stuff. Yeah, sure. Type my name in LinkedIn. I'm on there somewhere.
Oh, amazing! I loved it. This is great. Yeah, it's cool. It's millennial stuff. I'm talking about millennial talk, y'all. Okay,
Millennial talk. We're
relate
bad
or not.
millennials.
There you
Don't get
go.
it twisted.
Not the average millennials, the bad
We're
millennials.
bad millennials.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Bad Millennial. If you like this episode, make sure to leave a rating and a review and subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can also support this podcast by giving a donation via Spotify. Head to the link in the show notes to give. Thank you so much for supporting the making of this podcast. Got a question you want me to answer in the future? Leave a voice message on Spotify and DM and follow me at Bad Millennial Pod on Instagram for even more relatable millennial content.